Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I'm Deplorable Knitter. We have the lovely Ann Pinkova. Oh no! And
That's a good start.
and
It's a great day, guys.
I didn't bring my camera thing. I have my phone being held up by binder clips, so apologize. Might fall down again. But Neil's here because we got some stuff to talk about. But before we do that, we want to tell you about our sponsor, the wonderful Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. You can use the code gingerbread. Am I wrong?
Hang on. You are correct. This
Okay.
is really crazy. Okay, sorry. Gingerbread 20 PIK. I have it posted on the wall behind me, but my light ring was in the way. This is some professionalism. We're putting gas.
Gingerbread 20 PIK. You can get 20% off of any of Chicken Lady Fiber Arts yarn, and we are also giving away the peppermint stick, right?
Yes, we are. The beautiful
cool.
peppermint stick yarn. So comment below once the video is finished and you'll be entered for the giveaway. She is also, I don't know how much is left, but she is also running an extra special deal on all of her last chance colorways at the moment. She's got some mini skeins. All of her yarn's very pretty, but even her sort of offshoot rejects are fantastic. And she is restocked with Festivus and Thicket, and she has all of her birch colorways, which are just beautiful. Yes.
And I just realized we have not done our advent since like Wednesday. Oh my good gracious. I am sorry, Lynn. We will get right on that. Maybe we'll do it tonight. We'll have to just
we might have to do it tonight for knitting wars. But anyways,
all of a sudden that just reminded me. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, the ones that we've opened so far, though she's opening them too. They're everywhere. But yes, Lynn does fantastic work, guys. Go check her out.
She does.
And I was saying a little bit before, I won't go deeply into it, but we have our PIK colorway. I will show this off briefly. It's beautiful. You can get it on Lynn's site. But okay, I knit this a while ago. It's beautiful. I don't wear it. I am re-knitting it into something else, and it is still awesome to work with. I love her yarn.
That's
Anyways,
excellent.
We're done.
So cool. Chicken Lady, check her out. So it's a regular episode, but we have Neil here because I don't know if you guys saw it on his channel. If you haven't seen it on his channel, he and I got together last week and we talked about Emma in the Moment, who took some time to talk about Anne and myself and how terrible we are and the Trump ban on Ravelry and things like that. So if you haven't
she's
seen
got
it,
a bit of a fixation on you, hasn't she? She's kind of admitted it in this latest video, hasn't she?
You think so?
Yeah. I am here for it. Also, okay, so I wasn't here for y'all's first stream. Day job, lame. What's with that? No, but I thought I did watch your guys' video soon. Thanks, guys. But what I really thought was interesting, and this was something that we had kind of heard of beforehand, how she had put a call out if anyone had a picture of Stop the Steal at January 6th at the protest there. And I thought it was absolutely fascinating that was the whole setup of her video, that she wanted the payoff. She wanted the Trump ban happened and people said that people were overreacting, but everyone knows that January 6th was the most evil and they didn't think it was much. So that's the payoff. It's a payoff on a liberal presumption that if you go into it a little bit, it's not really there. But in her world, that is just obvious. Of course, Trump supporters are evil, and you're saying they're not. Well, look at this. They do a Trump supporter thing. It's crazy.
That's true.
It's obvious.
I knew there was something, but you've kind of articulated it in a really obvious, it's not an obvious way, but I mean, you've made it clear.
Now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't think about it like that, but see, that's why I have Anne, because she thinks about things like deeper than I do. Me, I'm like, oh, that person's a jerk. Okay, I'm gonna go over here and do this now. And she'll like sit there and stew on it and like get to the bottom of why they're a jerk. Whereas me, I'm like, all right, I got other stuff to do.
And I'm just like, look at this person. This is a jerk. That's how I go.
Exactly.
And I mean, the whole thing where, she's a parent. Sorry, I was distracted by the chat. Hello to the chat, and thanks for everyone who shows up on a morning where we don't normally stream, and y'all are here. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Just nobody have jobs in this world.
I think that because it's the week before Christmas, even if they do, a lot of people are off, or they're getting ready. Holidays, big deal. So
it is. It is. Merry Christmas to all. No, but in what? Okay, so Emma rips on us. Whatever, Ems. But it's sort of the concept that in a very liberal university world, which is the pond she swims in, that I think that's the nicest she can be to us by law. Like, if there's
any nicer, she loses her card.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like it's sharks in the water. I kind of
accurate.
Like she lives in a world where they eat their own all the time. Like that's
and they have tried. They have criticized her quite a lot over different. Nothing to do with you guys though, because obviously that's fair game.
Well, that's obviously that's acceptable.
But they went for her when she dead named whatever his name is from Ravelry. I can't remember his name now.
Casey.
Yeah. And I don't know why he changed his name, because Casey could be a girl or a boy, and it would have made life so much easier.
I know at least 2 female Caseys, actually.
Right.
So, I mean, if you just like a change, that's fine.
Yeah, and Cassidy, I think of a man when I think of Cassidy.
I hear it's either or. So
I know it's the last name, but what was it? Butch Cassidy? I kind of think, it's kind of a bit ironic, Butch Cassidy, and then.
Well, I don't know. It's all very strange, in my opinion. Whatever. The stuff they get mad about, they'll get mad about dead name, but.
Oh, well, I'll quickly put this in. Late last night, I got the news that the UK. They've been doing a 5-year study into what to tell head teachers about the whole trans thing, for kids at schools. And they've released this guidance, which is absolutely fantastic. Basically, teachers do not have to use students' pronouns if they don't want to. They can if they want, but they don't have to. Neither do other pupils or the students. But also, they don't have to assume that they can change gender. And also, they are legally forced to tell parents if the child is changing gender at school. Good. So I'm going with that now. So I will never use the wrong, weird pronouns. I will only ever use he, she, her.
You're not going to use
pronouns.
You're not going to use.
Well, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. Therefore, my government guidance says I don't have to.
Well, good for you. Cheers.
I thought I'd just put that in because that's one of the things they're going to say. They misgendered Casey Cassidy, whatever his name is.
Well, he's a grown man. He can take it.
No, he probably can't. He probably is crying in his, I don't know, whatever. But the whole. This is a different topic, but the whole I can change genders, but there's no such thing as genders. But for me to be a woman, I have to have boobs and long hair. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The whole thing makes no sense. It's a mental disorder. So anyway.
I'm a man. I can change if I have to, I guess.
But like, I could say I'm a dude right now and I wouldn't have to change anything and people would have to respect that I'm a dude. It's just so stupid.
Well, I've been a black woman for 2 years now, and everyone has to respect that.
Nobody seems to care, though. They never refer to you by your proper pronouns.
I don't get the attention I need.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
That's what it's all about, basically.
I was about to say, Mephisto's in the chat. Hello.
What's up, man? Yeah. So
anyway, Emma.
Shall we play Emma?
Emma.
Let's going.
Let's play the tape. Let's roll.
Okay. I think you have to do it, Anne, from your computer.
Yes, I do.
Ta-da.
Let's end the video with a good old-fashioned case of homophobia. Not
Yay!
from Ravelry, but from some of its users. Especially in relation to the redesign, this controversy doesn't really hold the same weight in terms of the backlash. It reads a lot more like Tucker Carlson being mad that the green M&M was not wearing her sexy heels anymore because God forbid we make anthropomorphized candy less sexually appealing to Tucker Carlson. But anyway.
Here, I'm going to pause for half a second and say this gal is nothing but leftist memes. It's hilarious.
Well, the anthropomorphized, I like how she had to throw in like a $10 word, like just so that, you know, while you're criticizing people on the internet, you seem like smarter than them. Thank you. So
I mean, it's fun.
I'm just saying, whatever.
And
Okay.
what's interesting here, though, is how they're complaining about that, yet they want all of these animals or non-human things turned into humans, which is what that means. They want them all to be gay or black or trans or whatever. So it's kind of like it's as important to them as it is to Tucker Carlson.
Right. They just want to have the corner on the market. So heaven forbid somebody else has an opinion about it. So, okay. Thank you.
No. And also, so Tucker at the time was doing a bit for humor. And it's like they have latched onto that. They are
because
and if he fancies cartoons, surely that makes him queer, and surely that makes him one of them.
Well, that's true too.
You know,
but as we've discussed before, you can't have humor. You can't have jokes and stuff because everything is an affront and everything is upsetting. And
well,
heaven forbid you have a joke about something going on. So
right. Well, I wouldn't. Yes, I would say that leftists generally are humorless, but also they're reading their humor from an entirely different narrative. Tucker Carlson and the green M&M, that is an A+ joke that is going on. And there's other things that she does quite often that references the very Tumblr girl, very leftist things that to her are a common joke to meme off of. And to us is kind of because we don't hang with that crowd generally, you know, there even I, who I am terminally online, a lot of her stuff I recognize, but sort of like ships passing in the night of like, I know the be gay, do crime meme. I understand this, but I'm not. I'll just wave as it goes because that's kind of weird.
My ship is obviously the Titanic compared to hers. You know, no idea what her humor is at all.
We have to do this. She spends so much time on vocab, but zero time on her hair.
No, I have. She spends so much time on her hair, and it hurts her. It is crazy how much she spends on her hair. Like.
And Anne and I already talked about this too. I'm still mocking the white string lights on the
okay. Before we get into the actual like important stuff, she says, I'm gonna go off because this is very important to me. No, okay. Emma by nature is actually pretty. Like she is. I've seen like
she actually has to go out of her way to not be, which is unfortunate.
No, that's the thing. Like with normal hair, with if you just like stopped her whole makeup routine and sat her in sunlight and let her hair grow for a bit, she's a pretty girl. She has very delicate features. She looks nice. Everything's good, but she has this stylized ugliness. And I'm just saying, any ugliness she has, it is her own creation. It's not her. It's not like I'm not like harassing her.
You're not making fun of something she has no control over.
Right. It is how she styles herself. And it's almost, I don't know, it's kind of, on one hand, it's a very over stylized internet way to present yourself. Mm-hmm. The quirky and ugly, the I like the weird vintage stuff. I like the bad sweaters, the one sweater she wears that's crocheted and chunky, that it's just a little too big. It kind of, she swims in it. That there's a certain style way to doing that. And it kind of reminds me of, you know how supermodels, or aging supermodels, that they will do a stylized, messy look It's like Adam Krigler. If anyone's familiar with Adam Krigler, he was a supermodel and he was on Tim Pool's show for a while and they had it falling out. Adam Krigler is an incredibly handsome man. Adam Krigler hasn't been handsome on the internet for years because it's the stylized, like, oh, I'm just in a beanie and big glasses now. This is just me being casual with my friends. And I'm like, buddy, please, for me.
Okay. Is it bad that I think of Christopher Lloyd when I look at her hair?
Oh, I don't know who that is.
It's an actor.
No, but anyways, to bring it back to Emma, that Emma is kind of doing the stylized, I'm so hot, it's okay if I'm ugly. But
also the other thing she's doing is she's trying to be different and stand out by looking exactly like everybody else in her peer group. So because she's a self-proclaimed gay person, a queer person, and if you look at, when I did a bit of a deep dive into that image on the Ravelry image, the artist, she looks exactly like her. They're clones of each other. They've got the same aesthetic, the same hair, the same everything, the same glasses, the same manner. And it's like they want to be different, but also the same at the same time.
Yeah. You could be different by not, falling into the trap. Like, there are some gay people out there who are very lovely, even though they're lesbians or whatever they prescribe. No, but my point is that
don't give them any more fodder.
I know there's a stereotype about rude lesbians, and that's because there's rude lesbians. Not all lesbians are rude.
No, my point is that there's this faux thing where, like, if you're a lesbian, you have to be kind of masculine, or you can't be feminine, or you have to, and that's the kind of look that is being embraced. There's somebody I follow on Instagram who said, I've always rocked this like very butch kind of thing, but now with everything going on with the leftists, like, she's growing out her hair and stuff because she's like, I don't want to be part of that anymore. It's like
in the lesbian world, there's two very distinct looks. There's what they call the butch and the femme. So the femme is usually, quite pretty, and they used to call it lipstick lesbian at one point. I'm sure that's offensive now. Whereas, and if you look at
saw the pride flag for lipstick lesbian. At least somebody out there is still rocking it. So
it must still be okay to say that then. And if you look at her, presumably the woman she's with must be, I mean, I'm assuming by their body language together that that's her partner, and she's quite femme. So I think Emma is definitely going down the butch route. And I think she's probably going to eventually, this is just my opinion, allegedly, I think she's probably going to be non-binary and want to become a man.
A dude?
Eventually.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So it is unfortunate. And
hates her aesthetic and the white string lights on the tree. And why aren't there any ornaments?
I do. Well,
and put the lights inside the tree so that they make the branches glow. Don't just have them sitting on the edge.
It's the styled ugliness. It's like she.
Are we being nitpicky now?
Oh, I am,
dude.
I will be.
Okay. No.
To be fair, though, I think we need to say something. I think we need to clear this up straight away, though. The thing is, I think the reason why we feel that it's okay to be nitpicky about Emma is because she's done some quite underhand things to you two guys so far.
Yeah.
And I know she's going to do some pretty underhand things when she comes to do my video. So as far as I'm concerned, gloves are off because, Emma started any of this. If if you want to say who started this beef, Emma started this.
Right. And I just want to say about the tree lights, for 20 years, my brother has like read articles by like designers, because he loves Christmas, about how to properly put lights on a tree. So I feel like I am not an authority, but I am authority adjacent to how tree lights should look. Okay.
Well, let's look at the tree behind you.
This is my mother's, but still, yes.
It's either, I mean, it is possible that she did this on purpose. Again, the stylized ugliness, but also as a white girl who hangs up them white girl lights, it's almost as if she threw them off the wall and on the tree.
Oh, she took them off from over her bed and just put them on the tree.
Well,
that's what
one thing I'll say in her defense, I will defend her on this, is that she might. I think she's living in very upmarket student accommodation. So it might be that she doesn't really have the money to spend on ornaments. Maybe. So that's just me.
I'm going to go with no.
Well, also, I mean, okay, I have this little silver tree back here. I have no ornaments, but that's just because, you know, it's a brand new tree. I've never needed ornaments before. I'll have to get some.
This is a new thing for Anne.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm off that train now.
No,
the look is a choice, and it's on purpose, and it is
on purpose. But that's the thing, though, that anyways, and there's also could be a defense mechanism because, again, sharks everywhere. I get it. Rooting for you, girl. All right, let's go.
Anyway, on June 11th, 2021, the Ravelry blog posted an update about the Pride-themed art that was going to be on the website's landing page. The art that they included was by artist Archie Bongiovanni. Archie is a Minneapolis-based cartoonist and illustrator who released the graphic novel A Quick and Easy Guide to They Them Pronouns and Grease Bats. In addition to this new art, the post announced that 30% of proceeds from Ravelry's pattern sales over the next 10 days would be donated to Take Action Minnesota, a charity that Archie chose the money to go to, the artist. An additional 10% would go to Cassidy and Jessica's local LGBTQ youth center. Here's a look at the art that was on the homepage. The community response to this was fairly varied.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. And also notice how she pans. It's a little difficult to see, but...
Speaking of but, well, that's the first thing you see. I'm not even going to say what it is. But my first impression of this, there's two things that really strike me. One, well, it's both about the colour. The colour, the overriding colour, is a very sort of dirty pink colour. Now, the thing is, the way this has been done is to bring children to look at this, because this is a child-friendly art style. I'm not saying what's in it is child-friendly, far from it, but that's why they've done it like this. Also, that colour is the colour of flesh, as in, you know, sexual color. Right. It's a sexual color.
I mean, you could always, not to be more catty, it's the day, people. But it could always be that art style is childish because the particular artist never had the need to go beyond that art style. So, I mean,
but I mean, I have a kid that reads a lot of graphic novels, and now that you've said that, Neil, the characters in the novels actually look like some of these people.
There's a reason. I believe there's a reason why a lot of the stuff in this queer world, and I differentiate queer from being gay or lesbian. There's a difference, a massive difference. A lot of the queer stuff is very attractive to children, and I don't think it's by accident. Even the way they dress. Look at the way Emma dresses. She dresses like a little boy, you know, with shorts, and she's kind of like almost like a character out of some kind of, you know, show, you know what I mean? The way she is with a floppy, fraggle hair, you know, everything about it is about children.
I was about to say, I'm going to get in trouble for this. Emma, clip this. What's the female version of Twink? Because that's it. That it's very like, you know, young girl, but not young boy, but not.
Well, theoretically, Twink, wouldn't that be male or female? Because isn't it supposed to, it originally came from twin income, no kids. So it was about any couple who didn't have kids, basically. And then it kind of morphed into pretty things, you know, pretty young things. I think that's kind of how it morphed.
Interesting. I don't know about this personally, so there you go. Okay. So I said it back in the day. I will say it again. This image just makes me uncomfortable. And everybody, it's going to come up, oh, children might see it. When I used to use Ravelry, I'm looking for knitting patterns. Why wouldn't I allow my kids to see what I'm looking for? Why wouldn't, not everybody is on their phone. Some people are on a laptop. Some people are in a shared space with their family, because we don't need to hide what we're doing. Very rarely do I not allow my children to look at what I'm doing on my phone or my computer, unless it's like birthday surprises or now it's Christmas.
But it's not even just kids, is it? Like, what if you were looking for a pattern to knit for your gran, and you were sat next to your gran and you were saying, oh, shall we choose a pattern? Or asking your gran to knit a pattern for you. Oh, I want a hat pattern. And then this is there. And then the kid or the adult, it's like, what the hell is that? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, there's the, oh, well, why would kids, you know, be on the internet looking for knitting patterns? I don't know. Who thought the knitting pattern website would have anything sexual on it? If you're talking to like a 10-year-old girl and she's like, hey, I'm starting to knit and I want to, you know, knit a pattern. And you're like, hey, hun, go ahead, go on. Here's the knitting website. Go pick out one you like. Oh, no.
Well,
I mean, have we decided?
Came with a pattern from Ravelry that she found, and I told her mother that it's probably not a site that she should use, as weird as that sounds, in the knitting community, because there are things on there that are inappropriate, and you would never expect that from it.
Right. And I mean, even Lovecraft or Love Knitting, depending on, you know, when you log in, they had a weird email they sent out. This was a couple months ago. I don't think we covered it. That it was in partnership with Sex Education, another show that we won't hear about in 2 minutes. It was Tom Daly had crocheted a bunch of different sex parts. Like, isn't that fun and quirky, for the promotion of this show? Now, in the email, they just said Sex Education. They didn't like send you those photos involuntarily, but
you have to go seek them out.
Yeah.
But still.
I mean, and if you followed Tom Daly on Instagram, you saw them all. I know, but
them being like, oh, people are doing things with their families. Maybe these people don't have families, maybe they don't have a good dynamic, but my family, I'm always with my children. They're always with me. Yes, I am concerned about what they're going to see. When I go onto a knitting website, I don't expect to see that. If I go onto a website that is geared towards adults, I might not be doing it while my kids are there. Like, that's just common sense. And for them to like act like I'm ridiculous for saying kids could see it, or like Neil said, you could be with your grandmother. I would be mortified if I had been sitting next to my grandmother and this popped up. I would have wanted to die and crawl under the floorboards.
Yeah. Are we going to skip over what some of these individual images represent, or?
Well, I think go ahead and go for it, because
I mean, we don't need to go super deep into
it. That she's like, it's normal. This is great.
Oh,
okay.
What I will say,
the books by the artist that she highlighted, she chose the nicer ones, and she didn't mention any of this. She's just like, oh, this is normal. Let's go. No, this is a pretty image. Why is this a problem? It's like, look at it.
Well, personally, I think we should skim over it, but if you want to know more, I've written an in-depth deep dive into this image, and it's going to be in issue 12, but it's going to be a link. You're going to have to link to it to read it. It's not going to be there.
Neil is not going to force you to read something that makes you uncomfortable or is not appropriate when you're at work, or because he's a normal human.
The only thing most people saw was that object that's on the right of the screen, and that seemed, and the bare buttocks. That seems to be the thing everybody noticed. But when I looked at all of the parts of this image, it's bad. It is really bad. I sent the document that I wrote to Cezanne, who's one of my proofreaders, and she's very open-minded. She knows a lot about a lot, and she was shocked and didn't know some of the stuff that I'd found out. And it's only via Google, because it's just like, I knew that this image was more sinister than they were pretending it was. And it is bad, I think. I mean, I don't know. Did you manage to read it, DK? I don't know. I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, I read the whole thing. Yeah.
What did you think? Is it bad? Or am I just making that up?
I thought it was interesting because Anne and I did an episode on it. I haven't watched it since we did it, so I don't remember all of our takes on it. But I know that I did spend more time looking at it than maybe other people did, because we did talk about it. But there's stuff that you saw that I didn't know. Yeah. I had no idea.
Not just the woman who is bag of chips romantic.
I want to know why all the white chicks are like old and fat. Like the only person I can get is a bag of chips, I guess. I don't know.
There is a woman in the middle, a black woman in the middle, who's got very large thighs. I think she might be quite fat too.
Okay, well.
But yeah.
Texas Cheap Lady says it's pornography. Yeah. So shall we move on? Shall we advance the frame?
I mean, again, okay, but sorry. Tumblr images. It's the game, though. Make everyone lame and gay. But there is a certain virtue signal game. Like, okay, if I make a movie reference, it's funnier if I use a double reference. If I quote two things at once and they fit together, and it's funnier. If I make triple references, it's funny. In Tumblr gay world, the more references you make to different stuff and it's edgy and transgressive, that's the joke. And the farther you can push it, the funnier the joke in their world. And that's the game. That's what they like. When Emma sits there, she doesn't just have the knitting metal shirt that she had in video 1, but she also has the triple gender pendant. Again, it doubles the joke, it doubles the reference. So
the
you have
pearl
this
necklace that she was wearing.
Yes.
That's got another meaning too.
Yes, and that's the thing. I mean, we have in here in this image, you have the bandana in the back pocket, which is a meaning. You have the guy with the dog mask, that's a meaning, and you have the little strap-on shoulder thingies. That's things. And then you have different images in here, which could mean pushing different sexualities on children, or it could also mean that isn't it great that children are seeing this and everyone's so accepting? Okay, again, both of those meanings are weird.
Well, don't forget there are children. So this is a streaming thing, like what we're doing now. So I can see both of you and I can see this screen, like we do when we do Knitting Wars. We can all see each other. So everybody participating in this, what is depicted in this image, can see each other. Now, if you look 4 along, 3 down, there's a woman with 2 children. You know, so those 2 children can see all of these other images, including the guy with his backside out, including the guy with the dog mask on, and so on. And there's a man with a baby. Why, why would you, it's obvious that they think it's child friendly, that this stuff is okay for children by having that image in that picture.
Right.
And I also, okay, this will come on later, but you also have the woman who is shaving as part of this too, which body hair on women is another like gender norm pressing thing that they love. It's funny to them, and it's also funny when we're like, ew, that's gross. That again, it compounds it. It makes the joke is funnier for leftists when conservatives are like, ew, that's gross, because it is.
Well, the fact that Ravelry used this, so I think it would have been Casey Cassidy, whatever his name is. He would have loved the idea that most people would have had no idea about how, most of the things in this. He would have thought it was hilarious that old ladies would have been logging into this, as well as innocent, naive people with no idea about any of it.
Right.
And the people that knew, who were in on the joke, wouldn't have said anything because they would have been loving every minute of it along with him, and Emma. And also Emma, when I don't know whether we've missed it, but when she's talking about this image, she does something called duping delight. I don't know whether you know about that, where they say something serious, but they can't hold back a tiny little smirk. And that is called duping delight. And it's where they're getting away with deceiving someone. And it's quite a well-known thing. It happens a lot with murderers. If a murderer's saying, oh, I didn't do it, but then does a little tiny smile, like, you did it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not even mentioning the tarot card. Let's keep rolling the tape.
Wait. I 100% believe their end goal is to make pedophilia normalized.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I wrote about this last issue, queer. So it's really important that people know that queer is different to homosexuality. Queer is a political movement. It's not about who you fancy, who you want to have sex with. It includes pedophilia. Absolutely it does. And if they say it doesn't, they are lying, because I've done the research on this. It's documented. It's part of their theory. It's actually a queer theory, a queer movement. It's actually a what's the word? It's not just people who are like-minded in their sexual habits. This is a movement. You have to deliberately join it. But also bestiality. They're happy to have people that have sex with animals as part of their group. It is everything except normal, standard, typical sex between heterosexual people. Now, heterosexuals can be queer, as we've seen with Yelly, people like Yelly, because she's having a non-typical sexual relationship with, multiple partners or whatever it is she does. So it's everybody that isn't standard sexually. That is what queer is. That includes rapists. That includes murderers who have a sexual element to what they're doing. It is everything that is depraved. That's what it covers, everything.
If you remember on Netflix when they had that Jeffrey Dahmer documentary and he was put under the LGBT label, and a couple people were upset about that, like, no, we don't want him with the rest of the gays. It's like, but he was, though, and the story.
But the queers will have him. The queers will have him, no problem.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and not to go on about it, I will. But that there is a correlation. I'm not saying that everybody who is gay or this is an everybody thing. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that there is a higher rate of children who were abused are later identify as being homosexual. Okay. Again, that's not everybody. That's not everything. And it wasn't just if you were abused by a gay person. That's not what I'm saying at all, because I'm not saying that straight people don't abuse people, because they do. And it's awful. That's not what I'm saying. But that there is that little bit of, I don't know, that's, again, this is not a peer reviewed thing, but it's like, I don't know, a correlation between turning to homosexuality as a trauma response. Maybe we should look at that, because that's, like, again, very emotionally hard on children to deal with this abuse. And again, I'm not saying it's everybody, I'm not saying it's everything, but that is disturbing. It's just, and it's disturbing that kids get abused anyway. It's just full stop, done. Okay. But that it does, there is an inclination towards it. That's what I'm saying.
I was just going to say that is it in a nutshell. Sorry. That was what
basically
I was trying to say.
Removing any reproduction from sex is the object of queering. So there you go.
The thing that it's basically there for, it just happens that it's enjoyable, usually, mostly, hopefully. It's just that, that is what it's there for, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's why it exists, presumably.
Right.
Am I being naive?
I don't know. So,
anyways,
let's roll it.
I'll roll the tape.
I'm tired of looking at this shit.
I know. I'm sorry.
But from what I can see, the response fell into generally 3 main categories. The first category is what I would call people that didn't really care. People who saw it and said, oh yeah, it's Pride. Cool. Sounds good. I didn't really notice it. The second category is people that loved it and saw it and said, it's Pride. Let's celebrate and normalize queerness and all of its different.
When Neil raises his hand, that means you have to pause it.
Sorry, I was watching the video.
I do what you do, DK. So I've got to say at this point, something I have to say. This is very much a graphic design is my passion moment, because Emma has a thing about people who do words in colors and whatever, and she always says her standard phrase is just that: graphic design is my passion, as if it's an insult. Well, Emma, love, as much as your hair's lovely, your graphic design leaves a lot to be desired. Sorry, I had to just say that.
No, it is very, I'm, in 5th grade, and I've been told to do a PowerPoint presentation for computer class.
Absolutely.
You flip that clip art on the screen.
Okay. Oh, notice how she's deliberately done the colors on this as well. So the ones that are okay are nice colors, and then when it gets to the next one, which is where all the homophobes are, it's a bad color.
I don't know if I noticed.
Aspects. This is great. Thanks, Ravelry. And then the third category, people who hated it, which I will also separate into 2 different subcategories. Some people hated this because they hated the art style and the fact that the artist chosen was not a fiber artist. They didn't include any yarn or fiber art in the drawing. The artist was not a crafter. According to a tweet that they posted later, they were not even told that they should use yarn. So how were they supposed to know? A bigger chunk of this category of people that disliked it was people like our politically incorrect knitters. You know that I couldn't go the whole video without talking about something deplorable Knitter said. So let's hear what she had to say about these things.
What part of this weird sexual stuff is appropriate for children?
Deplorable was upset that some of the images in this drawing depicted sex toys or sex acts and said that this was not appropriate for children. She also was upset that there were donations going to these LGBTQ youth centers, as this was something she did not agree with and did not want her money going to support these causes. Let's hear some more things she had to say about this.
Hang on, I'm going to pause and say, I can't believe it. Having money go to political causes I don't agree with involuntarily. What?
That's my problem with it. It's not that they were donating it, but were they transparent about it? Were people who were buying patterns aware that that's where their money was going to go? It's like when I go and tell people about Hunter Hammersman or whatever, who talks about all the abortions she provides. I don't care if you buy her patterns, but I want you to know that she is funding abortion. So if that's not something you're okay with, you should be aware.
Well,
that's
they
my
want
issue
everybody
with it.
to know, anybody who contributes to my magazine, for example, you know, they want everyone to know, so you shouldn't, you know, buy from that person anymore because they've had a pattern in my magazine. This is only the same kind of thing, except the opposite way around. But the other thing about this now is how she takes you out of context next. I just think this is brilliant how she's done this.
Yeah.
So
anyways, I'll roll further, but okay, sorry. But it's involuntary. It's not this is our cause of the month because it's Pride. There's going to be a donate link on our front page. It is, again, the involuntary. It's not a, hey, do you want to donate? Do you want this? No. Anyways, sorry.
Exactly.
I know that the whole point of all of this is to get rid of white men or to take them down. And
also, if you're an autistic white guy, you got plenty of struggles.
I don't know if this is true or not, but a lot of people are saying that they're trying to normalize, like, some lesbians kissing.
Right.
They're so busy worrying about what other people are doing.
All right, that's enough of that. Most of the backlash did come from some of the illustrations in the art that make overt.
Sorry.
Anne, you're not good at this.
I'm sorry. Okay, I get distracted.
She got
I'm the
pushed
worst
into
producer.
it. I forgot my computer. She had to do it. I don't know what I was saying about white cis men. I am certain that there was some sort of context that was involved that was cut out, though, because as you can see, we do this thing where we have conversations, we kind of bounce ideas off each other, and I might have said something and then Anne might have responded and it turned into a conversation. So
well,
although
the thing is, what she's go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, if they're doing this queer agenda thing, then yeah, I guess they are trying to get rid of everybody. So I'm not totally far off.
Yeah, I think I saw that episode, and I can't say I remember it, but I think there was a wider conversation then had about other things to do with the woke agenda, not just the gay thing or the queer thing or whatever. Because I would have noted if you said something just randomly like that out of nowhere, you know what I mean? As would everybody else watching.
And I would have gotten a lot of backlash about it, which is why I feel fairly confident in saying, even though I don't remember that episode, and I should have watched it before this, but I just didn't have an opportunity.
She's playing a silly, dangerous game, though, by doing these things. By, you know, because she's being disingenuous here, and she's deliberately, she has no integrity. By doing this, she's lost her integrity. And the thing is, we could do the same to her. You know, I actually have got a couple of clips which I found funny just for me, where she's saying that January 6th was an insurrection, you know, and, you know, I could just put that out there and say she said that because she did say those words, but they're out of context, you know, but
and that's the thing.
Would it matter, you know?
And also, I would say that because of the way that we're formatted, we go live a lot. We do a lot of things. Emma is primped and prepped and edited into oblivion. Everything is very purposeful, and also her edits are very quick together. You can see it with the that
and done by somebody else. It's important to note she does have a separate editor. to do her videos.
Oh, isn't that fancy? I do
I
art
mean-
editing, which is why it looks the way
So,
it does.
and
That's
it'll
true.
be somebody who's doing film studies, I would imagine, because they're doing a
Mhm.
lot of the, you know, zooming
Probably.
in and out.
And I mean,
things like that.
okay. And also just, this is not to knock anybody who has production value. You know, good for you. If that's how you want to present your videos, that's your artistic choice. We're just out here in cowboy world, and that's cool too. Okay. So that's,
Yeah.
you know,
And
but-
and that's the thing too, is when Emma chooses to do her stuff really scripted. She does research, not fairly, but she does research. She obviously has notes and maybe even possibly like an entire script that she's reading. That's what it seems like. Whereas Anne and I, the nature of what we have chosen to do is that ours, we have an idea of what we want to talk about, but a lot of it is just us talking to each other, and that's how our conversations flow. And so,
Yeah,
you know,
like, can I give
sometimes-
an example? So,
Mhm.
like today, Anne messaged me last night, said, "Oh, we're thinking of going live at 2:30 tomorrow. My time, sorry, at 2:30 tomorrow." So I was like, "Okay," and like literally, I was like right on the last minute. In fact, I was late, wasn't I? And then we just went live. You know, we don't even have this is what we're going to talk about, do we? We don't do
Yeah.
that. It's like,
well, I mean,
well, you got
On
the clip
occasion we
together,
do,
Neil.
but-
Props to you.
but since you and I had done this last week, I figured we really knew what we were doing anyway. But yeah, it's not professional, and sometimes we may say things that are not exactly what we mean, or what we intended to say, or come across poorly. But that's the nature of doing
but that's
live
because
shows.
you've got the kahunas to go live. Because the
Right.
thing is, when you go live, you can fuck up really bad. Like I just swore then. Sorry, I didn't mean
Cool.
to.
It's okay.
But it's like little things like that. You know, you are going to say things that go wrong, and that's just the nature of it. If you want to be seen as perfect, then do these highly curated videos like Emma does. You know, because we know the kind of people that do that, they want to project an image. Whereas when we go live, this is what we are like. You know, if I sat in DK or Anne's living room, I know we would be having the same conversations.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing. I guess part of it is that I don't want to come across as rude or as, you know, a bad person, but also I don't care what people think. So I don't need to be polished, because it's something that I think we talked about last week, Neil. I know who I am. I know where I stand. Maybe I don't always say it perfectly or whatever, but I am what I am, and I'm not going to change. So I could edit myself to death, or I could just be me. Whatever.
And ironically, isn't that a gay song? I am what I am.
Oh, I don't know.
No, and also, okay, what in the end, what we do is for the audience. And I, from an audience standpoint, having shorter edited videos, that's very useful, and it's very nice and very pretty and enjoyable. That's cool. Just Emma aside, having these videos, very nice. But again, that's not the game we're playing. We're, as the nerds say, authenticity is the currency of the future. We are out here, we're chill. This is how we are. This is how we are all the time. And yes, we could do some, we try to improve all the time, but this is who we are. And also, we're not afraid of our audience picking up on one half little thing and attacking us for it later, and blowing it out of proportion or doing whatever, when if it's something we say and then correct ourselves in the next phrase. Okay, so it's really not that important for us to always be perfect all the time, because we understand our audience will look at the wider context. They'll watch the whole video. The people who care will. Okay.
Right.
And if you don't care and you leave, that's cool too. Whatever. But
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's see what else she has to say.
Hurry. We're almost through, people.
Of that. Most of the backlash did come from some of the illustrations in the art that make overt or covert references to things that are sexual in nature. While I do think there are some legitimate criticisms to be made about choosing this particular piece of art to serve as the login page for your crafting website, there are plenty of other things to criticize Ravelry for than the gay agenda. As a certified gay person and someone that the...
All right.
So that's her doing the thing you were talking about, right, Neil? Where she's trying to tell you this very seriously, like, this should not be on the landing page maybe, but she can't stop smiling about it because it's so funny.
I
Yeah,
can't
she
believe
knows what we don't. She knows what the secret meaning of that picture is. But us stupid people out there, well, we shouldn't be complaining because, there's nothing in that image that is anything bad for children.
I
No.
can't believe that these conservatives are complaining about open buggery on a knitting site. Ugh.
Yeah, it's that Jeffrey, what's it face? What's he called? Jeffrey, the creepy guy that Mikey always takes a piss
Oh,
out.
Jeffrey Marsh.
Oh,
It's a bit like
Yes.
that, isn't it? That kind
Yeah.
of sweet smile, but with the
Mm.
sinister snake-like
Yeah.
thing going on.
And once
Yeah.
again, I would like to say that I don't believe that everybody involved with the LGBT community are working for pedophilia, because that's come up a lot. And I know there's a lot of people who are just living their lives, and that's cool. But I also think that there's a lot of other stuff going on. And so
Well, and the thing is, it's not just the LGBT thing that's connected with the paedophile thing, is it? There are heterosexuals doing it as well.
Oh my God.
Look, I'm old-fashioned, man. I'm not.
I
Is
know,
that
people are
considered a
probably
rude
tuning
word in
thinking
America?
this is a beautiful Christmas themed thing, and here we are.
If
Everybody
I called one of you a bugger, would that be considered really rude in America?
I don't think
No.
so.
No, okay. Because I was going to say
No,
here,
but
it's kind of everybody, oh, you little bugger, don't do
no,
that. It's
no.
not anything bad.
no.
Although,
Not a word
Bugger
we
is
use, really.
fine. In context, buggery is different.
Yes. Okay.
Anyways, sorry.
To serve as the login page for your crafting website, there are plenty of other things to criticize Ravelry for than the gay agenda. As a certified gay person and someone that the politically incorrect knitters
Certified.
might describe as woke, I do kind of see a lot of this backlash is just coming down to people being upset that politics was brought into their knitting website once again.
Ooh.
No. It's inappropriate. And once again, I'm going to go back to this. If I was showing these things to my children without them getting them from a teacher or from a certified woke person, I would be in trouble. I would be having my children taken because it is inappropriate sexual stuff. So why is this something that we're okay with? Just
Interesting choice of words there, though, wasn't it? Certified, as a certified gay person.
oh, can I get my
Yes.
card? How do you get one?
Well,
Neil?
yeah. Can you show us, Emma? Show us the certification. Or
Yes.
does she mean like Therese is saying here, certifiable? There's a kind of there's a few meanings to certified.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Windy Hill Farms. We should have put a disclaimer on this episode
yeah, we
that
should.
it
Maybe put it in the
was-
comment. You can edit the comment thing underneath after you post it. So
Mhm.
maybe put it in that.
yeah, that we do talk about stuff that's really not okay. Sorry, guys.
But anyways, to emphasize before, okay, the whole image. Okay, so if you're into weird stuff and you keep that to yourself, that's your own
Oh
thing.
yeah.
But
Get your
don't
rock
put it
stuff
out
however
in
you
public.
want. Yeah.
Okay. Or if you have it on your own site and it's, everybody knows going to that site that's what
Mhm.
you're about. That makes sense. You kids play over there. But it's having it on a totally unrelated site that people come to for a totally unrelated reason. And
Right.
also
That's
is
the
supposed
issue.
to be for all ages. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Mhm.
Supposed to be inclusive.
Mhm.
Yes.
So to be inclusive, that doesn't mean inclusive of every kind of activity out there. It means inclusive of people, which
Right.
means sometimes you have to not have certain activity there.
Yeah, and it's here, I'll remove Emma's simper from the screen. I'll get into it again. But
It's burned into our eyes.
yes. I can still see her in the little editing page. But it's the idea that in order to be accepted, you have to let it all hang out all the time. You really don't. You don't. And it's okay. You can do whatever you want in the bedroom and still sit at the knitting circle. that's fine. But going into graphic detail about your sex life in public, bit of a faux pas. Like every
Well,
time.
one thing that is always said, and it doesn't wash with me, is that they say, well, heterosexual people flaunt their sexuality in everything they do. You know, look at them having children, you know, that kind of thing. But it's like, yeah, but you know, you don't see a married couple. Well, I suppose some places you might do, but you don't generally see a married couple having sex, you know, that, or talking about their sex life, unless they're talking amongst friends, having a laugh or whatever. But you don't talk to complete strangers or go on a knitting website to show drawings of what you do with your partner in bed. You know,
that's the thing. Nobody wants to know. I don't care. They think, oh, you hate gay. No, I just don't care. I don't want to know the mechanics of how you and your person do your thing. That's private. Or if you enjoy doing it with a group of people, then do it with a group of consenting people. Don't do it with
it's like that person I
that
mentioned
don't wanna do
earlier
it.
who's in a polyamorous relationship or whatever they call it. It's like, good for her. Do that. Do whatever you like. But why is that now your identity? Because that is what it is. It's her identity that we all, you know, not us particularly, but people who are friends of hers have to accept and, you know, validate and take part in some way or other. You know, why? It doesn't.
Yeah. And also, I would say, as a certifiable prude, that okay, so as that guy every single time, I'm sorry, that I would say it's like, oh, straight people flaunting your sexuality, you're not always talking. Well, we could again from the other side bring up an example of, for example, the show Friends. Okay, that it's a comedy and most of the comedy is sex jokes. It is. And I was like watching an episode kind of recently and going like, oh wow, that's like a lot of the jokes. And it's not necessarily shown on screen, of course, because that would up the rating by quite a bit. But that's the humor. That's the a lot of the underlying things. So you could be like, oh, well, that's flaunting your straightness. Why don't I make gay jokes all the time? You know, and again, the different context of things. But it also reminds me, and this is more of an isolated incident than Friends. This is a single internet post. So this isn't to paint everybody. This is just an example. But it was a trans male to female, and she was talking about being in public, and there was a group of young women on the table next door, and they were all laughing and chatting and talking about their boyfriends and talking about their sex lives, and just the mortification from this person and just the bitter jealousy that they will never be as free and easy as these young women who are just being women is its own thing. That there's an envy, there's envious, there's you're happy and I'm not, that comes from it. That normal people are happy, they just live effortlessly, and it's so difficult for me. So for some people, that can be the kind of angle that they're taking in this also.
I think that's a lot of it. You get mad at straight couples for living so I mean, obviously there are straight couples that are not happy and whatever, but they have the things that these people are that's what it is. It's happy and easy. And even just regular gay couples, they resent them too because they're living just a normal happy life. They don't have to prove anything to anybody.
One of the things that I've observed over the years is that if a group of people are seemingly denied something, so for example, gay people fought to have the right to marry for various reasons. Well, what happens is that once that is achieved, they're so used to feeling the victim and needing to be the victim that then they have to invent something new to be a victim about. Whereas now I can't speak for America. I know different states have different rules, but I can say definitely in the UK, there's no scenario in the UK legally where heterosexuals and homosexuals are not equal. None whatsoever. Maybe the church thing, but even that now has kind of changed with the Pope's recent announcement. So,
I'm so glad I'm not Catholic.
Yeah,
joy
as Carrie
eaters,
would say,
yes,
they're joy eaters,
yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's a bit the same with any group, feminists, black militant people, anybody who's been fighting for rights. When they get those rights, they're not happy then. They've still got to do something else.
Even I would say, again, in kind of it's the envy thing, that it doesn't matter what group you look at. If you see someone else and they're happy, or just even you perceive that they're happy, that will make it so much more offensive if it's in your mindset to be envious of people. Even maybe they're not as happy as you think, but they just act.
Don't
or you
forget,
just
seeing happy smiley faces was harmful. Remember that comment? I can't remember who made it now, but they wanted everybody. It's only recently they went to one of the festivals, and because people didn't have masks hiding their happy smiling faces, this woman was traumatized.
Yeah, that you didn't conform to their idea that mask is health, mask is safe. Then that is, your smile is then an affront to them because you don't have that ideological conformity. But I mean, I would say that this happens even in nerd circles, even just to take away the whole sexuality element, that if you hate the cheerleader, you hate the cheerleader. And even if you're the nerd kid, and even if you're successful later, you will still hate the cheerleader. And it's not even her fault. Maybe she wasn't even rude to you, but maybe she got the nice guy and you didn't. Doesn't matter. It's a high school mentality, but it's still there. You will still act as if you're the underdog, even if later in life you are successful, or not even more successful. If you're just successful at all, it won't care. You still hate her. Why? Just let her go. As sorry, there's a comedian called John Christ, and whenever he talks about the quote woke people, or someone has an offensive comment or something, he's like, look, forgive your parents. I know it's hard, but just do it. And that's like, you know what? They tried their best, and even if not, let it go. You're okay. You're good. Move on.
Yeah, you survived. You didn't, starve.
Make something of yourself now, even if it sucked in the past. It's okay. You're good.
And I'm going to go slightly off topic. One of the big 10 is do not covet. I'm telling you, moral standards have been sliding for years, and this is the result of that. Whether or not it's the lack of church, or the lack of discipline, or the lack of whatever, but yeah.
Okay, shall we carry on? Continue?
Sure.
Wait, is there more?
That was the end of her video.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry. I thought there was more after that. Ah, right. Oh, because after that, the only thing that I think I cut out was she started to talk about that diverse nitty thing with Sopmatician. So she's planning on doing a video about him.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I think that's how she's going to do that. Then she's going to do Christy Glass, and then I think that's where I'll come into it. You see.
Oh,
so I can't wait.
Hey. Well, Homegirl does her narrative structure well. She has a lot going for her. That's why she has a successful channel. There we go.
But I think the thing with her is that she is very intelligent. I don't want to take that away from her. She's very intelligent. She's very good at what she does. She's an actress. She studied acting. So she's got the whole, presentation thing down. But the thing is, she's a great example of intelligence without experience and intelligence without wisdom. I don't know. I think she's going to look back on her early career, shall we call it, in 30 years' time and think, oh, God, why did I do that? Why did I say that about those people? Because I can't imagine anybody with maturity would still stand by some of the things she said, really.
But
they will.
They will. But she's going to be fine. Unless her own eat her, which will be much more painful than us sitting here talking crap for fun, like whatever. But you know, I think you mentioned before, she has like a proper musical career. She has real
she's an opera
skills.
singer.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
how
she
cool
must
is
be
that?
very talented, you know, and to
Right.
act as well. I mean,
Mhm.
I'd be intrigued to see. I might do a bit more of a deep dive on her and see if I can find any footage of her doing it. I've not seen anything so far,
Yeah,
but it
it's
does
like
sound like she's good.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like the one guy, you know, the guy Tabitha loves with the sweaters with all the holes in them that
Yeah,
he plays violin. What's his
James
James? I don't know. Help us, chat. You know, the one who has the like it's like a fishnet sweater.
Watts. James Watts.
Yes, there we go.
Yes.
And he has a podcast now, and yeah, he plays violin for a living.
Should have been
Yeah.
James. What's his name? It's like the clue was in the question.
Knee slapper.
Yeah, he's really talented, isn't he? It's so I just wonder why. I wonder whether, because I think her ultimate aim, Emma's ultimate aim, must be to become famous for something.
I mean,
And I
she's
think this
doing
might
well
be
now,
her
and
route. You know.
yeah, and also, I mean, I'm sure she makes proper money. So again, good on her for doing it.
Well, that's the YouTube is her only source of income, apparently, as well as
and graphic design is her passion.
Yeah. So,
but I think that once her internet career, if she ever quits that out and again goes back to having normal hair, she'll be indistinguishable. She'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to wrap this up because I have things to do. But in the beginning, somebody said, "Why are you wasting your time on her?" And it's because she's taken the time to like clip us out of context and to mock us. And so I feel like it's totally normal and fine to also talk about it because
and I want to say
we
something
stand
here
by
as
what
well.
we say.
What
We
she's
stand by
done
what
as
we
well,
say.
she's committed the cardinal sin of talking about people and then blocking them so that they can't respond. So when I found out that she was going to be doing the show about me, I actually contacted her, sent her a lovely mail, which I've shared, so it can't be misconstrued, saying, if you want any help, if you want me to answer any questions or clarify anything, you know, just shout. Really looking forward to it. I like what you do, blah, blah, blah. And then I got blocked for that. Now, anybody worth their salt would have jumped at that chance to, you know, if I was going to write about DK, doing a hit piece on DK, I would love it if she contacted me so I could take everything she wrote out of context.
But that's the mentality like we were talking about before. We're not scared. We're not scared to talk to them about these things. And
we invited her, didn't we?
We did invite her, and she did block us.
Emma, look, she dissed us. We dissed her. We can still be friends. We can make up after. Come on.
Yeah, but
I'm chill if you're chill. We're good.
She says, you know, I'm glad you're covering this. When I saw her videos, it burnt my biscuits, and that's the thing.
I like that saying. Never heard that before.
We're happy to talk about whatever. We're happy to have these people on and talk to us about it. They have issues with us, that's fine. But if they're not going to let us talk about them, we're still going to address it.
Well, and also she made an accusation. So pretty much she was slanderous, wasn't she? She said that the pair of you, that what you said was a good old-fashioned case of homophobia. Now, that was not true. And so to me, that had to be addressed because that is deliberately smearing you two.
Right.
You know, and the way she presented it tried to back what she said up. And it's like, no, that has to be addressed. You can't just let that go.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm going to have to go back to that video and clip what we were actually talking about with her clip so that I can talk about it because it was a bigger discussion.
When you go back to the video, now, I'm not saying that our visual quality is always awesome, because we do have technical issues all the time. But I was kind of wondering if she was knocking down the visual quality a bit intentionally.
In the beginning, I used a different camera, so it's probably just we were new. It's what it was. You know what I mean?
True. And also, again, not as if we're all bright and shiny and clean now, but it is funny. I mean, yes, when we started, that is the time period when we talked about these issues that are relevant to her videos now. But also, I thought it was funny when and we talked about the Ravelry thing on our first episode about the Ravelry thing. But it was funny seeing clips of ourselves going like, oh no, it's the old camera. And you know what? we stand by it. We were keeping with it, but still,
It
it's
is
like,
what it is.
okay.
Neither of you have aged a day, so there's one thing. You
Aw,
look
you're
as
so
young
kind to
now
me.
as you
Well,
did then.
Thank you. Just, you know.
Thank you, because as official women, that's not what we thought when we saw the picture. I don't not to speak for DK, but for me, I'm like, ooh,
No.
gained a little weight.
Yeah, me too.
Well, next year, Anne is going to have short, bleach blonde, spiky
Oh, please
hair, aren't
don't.
you, Anne?
Oh,
Okay,
I've done that before. I don't like it.
guys,
I did that in high school.
I have to go build a gingerbread house. I'm going to catch you
Okay,
guys in a
very
few
important
hours.
Christmas
Okay.
stuff.
Yes.
Oh.
And we're going to talk about Christmas, I think, tonight, like some more
Yes.
lighthearted,
So
fun
join
stuff.
us. Yes. Join us later for Knitting Wars. We're going live again. That's 5 Central, 6 Eastern, whatever time it is in England. Amy, sorry. Amy from Two Sisters and Some Yarn. She said she'd join us. Caro Brown is going to join us again. Caro is always a treat to talk to.
Yep.
Chicken Lady Fiber Arts is our sponsor. Gingerbread 20 PIK for 20% off, and she's also running a sale for her last chance yarns. Check that out.
Yep.
Get some cool stuff. Yeah,
And don't forget, everything is about destroying white men.
that's right.
Obviously.
And I would like to say, white men, I'm for you. Actually, I'm for men in general. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. On that note, guys, we'll see you
Emma will be
tonight.
distraught.
Bye.
Bye.